A city council proposal will make it so the Albuquerque Police Department no longer takes the lead investigating its own officers after they're involved in a shooting.
Instead, the bill calls for APD to pay for another agency to do the investigation. News 13's Lizzie Mitri has both sides.
Jessica, Dean, the city doesn't see this as a necessary measure, but Councilor Pat Davis says his proposal should be the next step in APD reform. In the murder trial after the Albuquerque police shooting of James Boyd,
get on the ground!
The prosecution questioned how thoroughly APD investigated its own officers and whether or not the officers accused of murder had access to the evidence against them. After a mistrial, the special prosecutor came away with some suggestions.
The first one would be that police departments probably shouldn't investigate their own officers.
In City Council, Pat Davis is proposing making that APD policy.
To be sure that our investigations have integrity enough that no one can question the process.
Instead of paying its own investigator, APD would pay an outside agency like state police.
The state police does that for every other law enforcement agency in the state. It makes sense for them to have that, apply that same standard here in our city too.
The city attorney wasn't available for questions, but says this has already been addressed in the signed settlement agreement with the Department of Justice, where a multi-agency task force is launched, so APD works with other law enforcement agencies on these investigations. This comes after the city agreed to find an outside investigator to look into claims that the department altered and deleted video in officer-involved shooting cases. The city says it's still researching to find that independent investigator. Davis is proposing a bill to get the inspector general involved in that process.
It's taking somebody a while to find somebody who has the technical expertise to use their system. That just makes sense. But this is taking longer than we need.
Those bills are expected to be discussed in committee before going to the full council for a vote. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Lizzie. On a state level, the Law Enforcement Academy Board is also taking a closer look at how police shootings are investigated. Chair of the board, Attorney General Hector Balderas, wants a panel of experts to review the more than 190 agencies in the state and make recommendations next summer.